All right, we are live. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode, a weekend edition of Elevate Your Grind, brought to you by the Cannabis Lab, folks. We had an awesome week of shows and events. We did 4 live podcasts. We also had our diversity panel led by Roz McCarthy. It was an amazing conversation. If you guys have not seen that, definitely go to our website, joinclab.com. You can register for future events, but also check that out on our YouTube page and our Facebook page, where you are right now, facebook.com/Canna Business Group. We're going to be putting out a ton of great content. We're doing a special weekend edition, Elevate Your Grind, because my guest today is probably one of the busiest broadcasters in the law practice, right? For those of you that are watching us on Instagram, you know who it is. For those of you watching on Facebook, I will give you a second. He's going to join us, but I am very honored. We had his brother on before, but I am very honored to have Marc Wasserman from the Pot Brothers at Law join us live from, it looks like, the Shut the Fuck Up Friday studio, because I've seen that background plenty of times before. Marc, thank you for joining me, man. Thank you for taking a weekend and joining me.
My pleasure. We're live from my garage. It's the studio, so you got it. I'm happy to be here and educate while I'm medicating and talk about whatever we got.
See, this is what I love about you and your brothers, right? Is you guys live the life. You've been part of this culture. None of this is just like a monetary thing to you. This is what you do, and you're trying to help people very similar to you, right? But at the end of the day, and I told him this, if I were to just scroll through your Instagram without looking and without checking out the content, I'd be like, oh, these guys are a bunch of potheads that want to defend potheads. But when you actually dig into the videos and listen to what you're saying and hear the advice and read the captions, you guys are extremely good at what you do. So honestly, I think it's one of the biggest best marketing campaigns I've ever seen. Talk to us about just kind of, listen, I talked to Craig. I know that you have the entertainment background, so I know that you're technically probably the head of marketing there. So I just want to, how were you able to make a career out of just living your life?
Well, I mean, I've always been, very open and kind of out there. When I started my law practice in 1996, a good friend of mine, a few years after that or whenever it was, said, hey, there's something coming out on social media called Facebook. And you can advertise your law practice and the movies we're making for free advertising for businesses. Was the insight that I got before Facebook actually came out. And when it came out, I put my law practice up there. I put my production company, and it was free advertising to get clients. Hey, free Facebook, free consults for my Facebook friends. And so, I started on social media, getting out there with that. And then we fast forward to 2015, when me and my brother, I had always been doing criminal defense and cannabis law. In 1996, when I became an attorney, that's the same year that Prop 215 came out in California, gave patients their rights. And it was still, as it is now, it's a crime first. And then you have to defend yourself in court. So I started defending cannabis patients right out of the gate in 1996 when I became an attorney, and being a cannabis user as well and a cannabis patient as well, I was very motivated to help people who were getting busted for this plan. So I had always been doing that. My brother was doing business counseling and corporate counseling and all that transactional work. So when cannabis and business started to come together, we were pretty much one of the only firms that did both, because you needed the business end of it now to get the permits and the licensing, and even before that to operate as a not-for-profit cooperative, and you were still getting hit with felonies. And then when the business side turned over, now we were a couple of attorneys who can help you get your permits and licenses. And if you get arrested afterwards, because even with your licenses, people still get arrested. And they have to go, oh no, I have my license, but you got to go through the process. So we started to, with my brother's kid, I'm sure you talked about that when he was on. I won't, go much into more detail other than that's the reason that we ultimately got on social media, was because of my nephew, my brother's kid. And when he for years, he was telling us to get on Instagram, years when it started. And, you know, both me and my brother, we're on Facebook. Instagram's full of young kids, and they're showing their pot and their tits, and the fucker, we didn't get it. And we didn't do anything about it until we got several cases of felonies against my nephew dismissed. And he said, you gotta do an Instagram. And we still resisted. And then one day, January 22nd, 2015, my brother might have touched on that, but he doesn't remember the dates and everything as well as I do. So
that's actually very true, because I just watched his interview again this morning for this. So
yeah, and he probably brushed over it, talked about it. We were on Be Real and all this stuff. So I give you a little more detail into how that happened and how it actually grew into this is really where it started. That day, January 22nd, 2015, he comes into our office unannounced, as he'll do because he's all over the world. We never know where he's going to be, my nephew. Jay Cures from West Coast Cure. And it's kind of funny because people will ask us, hey, where's your nephew? Where's your son? We want to get some good West Coast Cure. I don't know. I got to watch Snapchat or Facebook or Instagram to figure out where the fuck he is. You know, you think he calls his dad and his uncle? No. So he comes into our office this day and he goes, hey, I got some friends who want to interview attorneys, and they want to smoke pot and talk about and this is 2015 when the laws were about to change in California under Prop 64. And they can't find anybody. They can't find attorneys who'll come smoke with them. And I was like, okay, let's go. Where? When do we go? And my brother, what's the state bar going to say? We're going to be smoking and people are going to watch. Are you crazy? Well, yeah, I'm crazy, but we have our physician's recommendations. We're in California, going to a private studio somewhere where they allow it. Ooh, let's go. Who cares? So, about a 10, 15-minute discussion. And he said, all right, who's going to be watching this thing anyway? And, what is it? And so my nephew says, well, it's on Be Real TV. And so, at that time, of course, coming from my era in the 80s and 90s, I know who that is. That's Cypress Hill.
Oh, yeah.
So he's on TV. What? Is he on Fox, NBC? What? I didn't know he was on TV. No, he's internet. Okay, so my brother's, who's going to watch this? A bunch of stoners? Okay, let's go. When is it? Today. We got to leave right now. And that's how my nephew is. If something comes up, it's right now today. So we buzzed up to Be Real Studios in LA, and we did the show Getting High with Adam Ill, which was our very first interview. And we weren't even the Pot Brothers at Law then, just two brothers who smoke pot and practice law and were willing to come on and talk about it. So we did that, and we smoked, we dabbed, we bonged, we blunted, we did just everything and took questions. And it was a great experience. And sitting in the Be Real Studios afterwards, my nephew, again, you guys got to get on Instagram. You take some pictures with Be Real right now, and you got to get on Instagram. So my brother, being non-social media savvy, not knowing anything about social media, took it upon himself, sitting there, I was in another corner of the studio, to make our Instagram page, which he did. POT space, brothers space, and put spaces in between everything, not knowing that it creates that annoying fucking underscore. So for me, I do these things, and we'll do it later. Follow the Pot Brothers Law, POT underscore at underscore brothers underscore law. So you got to say that all out. And we created Pot Brothers at Law, and took a couple pictures. And then it was incumbent upon me. My brother wasn't going to be able to do it. What are we going to do with this Instagram page? How can we utilize it? And again, I focus back to my Facebook page, where, okay, I use that for, advertising for free, and maybe it's similar. Maybe we'll get a few more clients out of it, and, we can help teach a few things to people, like our nephews. You got to teach people how to deal with the cops and all that stuff. And so we posted a couple pictures, and then I started to live with Instagram for like probably 5 days. I was researching, reading, looking at popular influencers and their pages and all this and that. And so you do research, how do you get followers and what are you doing? And well, you got to follow people to get followers and have them follow you back. So I just started wherever I went. Where's my phone? I have my phone in my hand.
I think we're on your phone.
I have many phones. I have many phones. But wherever I was in court, I'm on the toilet, I'm eating, I'm following people, I'm following. Suddenly we're following 10,000 people. And about 8,000 are following us. And this is in about maybe 3 or 4 weeks. We get like 8,000 followers. And I didn't have anything to compare it to other than in Facebook, which took me 10 years to get 5,000 friends.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, something's happening here where I don't know what it is yet, but I do notice that people with huge followings barely follow anybody. And I didn't read anything about that anywhere, but I'm like, well, fuck, if all these guys, these huge celebrities and influencers are not following many people, I'm going to do that. So I started unfollowing, right? Unfollow. And I guess you lose followers that way too, but I got it all the way and decided we're going to have like about 200 people we're going to be following. And so in figuring that stuff out, now it was, what kind of content, what can we put out there? We're not going to, no sexy girls and pictures of our weed and, stuff like that. And we decided, let's teach people what to do when they get pulled over. Because that's something that I had been teaching people over the years. Shut the fuck up is something we've been telling people for 30 years when you talk to the cops. And so we decided, okay, let's get in the car and we'll smoke a little and we'll talk about what to do when you get pulled over. And that first day when we were trying to just, well, how are we going to, we got 15 seconds, right? It's a fucking 15-second video. The fuck are we going to, and both my nieces, my brother's daughters were out there watching us, and we were struggling. Like, I was talking, he was, what are we going to say? One of my nieces goes, Dad, to my brother, Dad, you just smoke and let Uncle Mark talk. and right, I have the background with all that stuff. So we go, okay. And so we did that. And we did a series of 15-second tips on what to do when you get pulled over. And so that got tremendous feedback. And now, we're just rolling with followers, a couple hundred every day, 1,000 every day. And then once we were realizing we got this massive following, what else can we do? And and at the same time in 2015, you're seeing the rise of all the issues with police. It's really starting to get captured on social media. Same time we got in there. And so, okay, we got to teach people how to deal with it. We already do it, but we didn't have like what is now known as the script. We didn't have those 25 words. We just had shut the fuck up when cops ask questions and invoke your Fifth Amendment. You got to do that. So realizing that there need to be some way for citizens to engage in law enforcement at a pullover, so you're maintaining all of your constitutional and civil rights remedies and defenses if you need them later. And so, it was 50 words, it was 35, it was 40. I mean, we, for a couple of months, were really honed in on what's the perfect thing. What is it? What's going to work for everybody in any situation with the cops? And a lot of the script is based in case law, and there's reasons why you got to say that. Some of it is, this is just the easiest thing. And so we started to play with that. And then once we had that down and the 25 words, we started pushing it out there and letting people know this is what you have to do to deal with cops. And when we first started, California attorneys, cannabis smokers, and we were targeting California people because people who smoke cannabis get fucked with the most by the cops with that smell and all that bullshit. So that was what we felt was our target audience at first. And then we start to realize, as people from the other states are chiming in and following us that this isn't just for people who use cannabis. It's for everybody. This is for everybody, no matter who you are or what you're doing. If you get pulled over, maybe you had 3 drinks, maybe you had 2 drinks, you know, you're not drunk, you're not impaired, but you might be over that legal limit, but you may not be impaired, and you'll find yourself with a DUI and in jail if you don't know how to handle the cops when you get pulled over in a situation like that. So we quickly learned that this is for everybody. And who's our audience? Everybody.
Everyone.
You know, I mean, that's one of the things on social media. You'll read all this stuff. Who's your audience? Target your audience and, you know, make content that's going to target your audience. So when I was reading all that shit, like, everybody is our audience, even children. Children need to know to shut the fuck up if the cops come asking them questions, you know, shut the freak up with what we teach the kids, you know, so that
18 and under, shut the freak up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So dealing with that concept that who's your audience? Well, everybody, old people, young people, black people, Mexican, Latino, I mean, everybody. And so realizing that, and then being able to, you know, take the criticism and the pushback that we get from minorities. That's not going to work for me. I'm going to get my ass beat. You know, if I do that, if I say I'm not discussing my day, cops are going to rip me out of the car and beat my ass. And, you know, as 2 older white Jewish men, you know, we're putting ourselves out there now, and we understand, we'll never understand. I know that. I don't have to have a talk with my teenage boy that other black men have to have talks with their children. I don't have to do that. But I can stand with you, and I can stand with you to teach you your rights so that if something shitty happens, they're not going to get away with it like they always do and have gotten away with it by using their good old crutch. I was afraid for my life. And he did this, he reached there and whatever. And they use that. And that's the power we're taking away from them. And, you know, we tell people, be polite, be courteous. They ask you to get out of the car, get out of the car. The problem with that is cops are supposed to tell you why you were pulled over. You know, they're supposed to tell you. They're supposed to tell you why getting out of the car. But they don't have to.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a series of case law, archaic case law, going back, you know, till the beginning of fucking time, and that says if a cop rips you out of the car, like we see so many times, all they have to do afterwards is say, oh, I thought there was a weapon. I had to remove him for my safety. I thought I saw something in there.
Yeah.
I asked him to get out and he said no. You know, and so that string of case law allows cops to do all the shit we're seeing them do, even though they shouldn't. So it's incumbent upon us as citizens, unfortunately, to de-escalate situations at pullovers, because cops can come in hot. And I don't blame them. Cops go to a traffic stop and they come up and they get shot. It happens. It happens. They don't know what they're walking into. So I don't, you know, I don't blame that. We have to help make them feel comfortable. That's why we tell you, pull right over, put your hands on the steering wheel, put them out the window, let the cop know where your hands are. Have your license, insurance, and registration already set right here on the visor. So you're just doing this. And those are the things that we teach people to do to minimize your exposure to dealing with, well, for no one, getting pulled over. You can do it when you make sure your lights are working, your blinkers, walk around your car, your tags, and all the shit that they look for. Cops read the fucking vehicle code and look for obscure shit to pull you over for.
Yeah.
And they do that just everywhere. They look for obscure law violations so they can get somebody, like a homeless person who takes a can out of a recycle bin that's in the back of a courthouse. That's misdemeanor theft, because the courthouse was going to take that recycled material and get money for it. So cops, they go arrest homeless people. That, you know, these are stories that we've heard over the years of what cops do. You know, and these are what we would say are the bad cops. Not all cops are bad. We don't hate cops. We love cops. They're important. But there are fucking bad cops who do these bad things. And what we need is more of the good cops to stand up and out them, which I think is starting to happen. And we get responses from all over the country from cops that they like the script. They like what we're doing. They see how it helps and keeps everyone safe. In fact, there's a captain out of Kentucky who every night at roll call, he has his cops stand up and recite the script.
Wow.
And hey, these are people's rights. And you know, that if we have those types of cops, we don't need a script. We don't need to teach people to do this. But they're few and far between, and hopefully we get more and more of them. You know, so really getting back to all the social media stuff and how it just happened, the whole marketing and everything, we fell ass backwards into it. It wasn't like, let's go on social media and market this way and do this, and we're going to get tons of clients and we're going to become famous. And no, it wasn't any of that. It was just, how can we just go out there, we'll be present, teach people what we're already teaching people. And, you know, most attorneys will charge you $500 to $1,000 to come in and, you want to learn about the Fifth Amendment and what to do during a pullover? Come in, pay me $500. We'll sit for an hour and I'll tell you. So we decided, fuck that. We're just going to give people advice or information, and they can utilize it if they want. And in fact, we would get calls. Hey, I saw your page. I want a consultation. I said, what do you need? And depending on what their answer is, I may just say, well, before you go dig into your pocket, go watch our Instagram page for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Look at all the videos you can. And you may find that your answers are the questions to your answers to your questions are all right there. And you don't have to come pay me another $500. You want to sit in front of me and look at my face, okay? But do that first. Try to save some money, and because we're putting the information out there, and it's basic information that are going to help keep people safe and again protect all of your rights. So, you know, the idea that it's great, it is great marketing, of course, and now we kind of have a model from it that I kind of built along the way, but it was really all just putting out content that we felt would help people, and, you know, figuring out these fucking algorithms and how many posts should we do a day and 4 and 5. All that stuff was time draining, but necessary to figure out how we're going to do it. And then the biggest push we got, so we started in 2015, January 22nd. Mm-hmm. On December 25th, 2018, we had about 120,000 followers, which over the course of 3 years is pretty good from all the stuff I've seen on social media. And so during the process, Instagram was our mother lode. That's where we had the biggest following. But I was like, we got to be on everything. We should be everywhere. So we Pop Brothers at Law, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, all social media. We had a presence there, but I wasn't posting or actively doing shit. It was just there. And I have notifications on my phone for every different thing, so I don't miss, because all it takes is one for us. Hey, I got arrested last night and I need help.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss that one. So my notifications are set for everything. So it's Christmas morning, December 25th. We're on vacation. I'm on the balcony smoking a joint, and my phone goes ding, which is the Facebook notification. And then it started going ding, 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 and it didn't stop. It was just going forever. And I'm like, the fuck? I thought my phone was broken or something. I turned it off, turned it on. It's still going. I get on the computer and I go to Facebook and I'm trying to figure out what's happening. People are making all these comments and likes and shares, and finally track it down. A Facebook page called Respect My Region, which is like a political hip hop page. And they reposted one of our Shut the Fuck Up Friday videos where we're explaining how 3 people got caught in a raid at an illegal shop. 2 of them said, "Oh, I'm a volunteer here." One of them shut the fuck up, and we got the case dismissed. So that post on their page got reposted on Facebook, no less, by Roger Stone.
Oh, yeah.
and who does anything but shut the fuck up. And his caption was, "These should be my attorneys." And just everybody in the fucking world started picking it up and reposting it, you know, on all social media platforms, on these things I never even heard of. What at World Star and Barstool. You never even heard of these things with millions of followers. And that just skyrocketed us. That video now across all social media, probably 500 to 600 million views just on that one video alone. And that's what really skyrocketed us off. And because then, you know, I got P. Diddy and Snoop and all of them just kept picking it up and reposting it. And at the same time, we're doing our FM radio talk show, Cannabis Talk 101. And so we're getting more steam with that. And once that started happening, now we get into calls from ridiculousness. They want to license our video. Tosh.0 wants to interview us, and just on. And we're, you know, podcast after podcast. And, you know, we got a manager, and, you know, reality TV shows and production companies have been coming after us for fucking 5 years. And we're if something right and perfect comes along, you know, we'll do it, you know. And we get you guys should have a Netflix series, and, you know, all this and that. And maybe we will. We just in the last, just before the pandemic hit, partnered with iHeartMedia with our radio podcast, Cannabis Talk 101. So we're the first cannabis talk show podcast to partner with a major media conglomerate like iHeartMedia.
That's
so
awesome.
That's getting pushed out there. And, you know, we've just been kind of riding this wave. And as things progressed, we just kept kind of moving with it. You know, I mean, our Instagram page went from 4 posts a day to 1 or 2 because we didn't need to use that many, you know. Then we realized that on Instagram and Facebook, the shadow banning, the algorithm shit, because with 458,000 followers, when we go live, 50 people, 70 people are getting the notifications, and people who have their notifications set don't get the notification. They come on, I didn't get, you know, so I mean, I don't know. I don't know any about how that or why that or what, just that it is. And we had somebody do a pretty deep dive into our Instagram because we were thinking, well, maybe we just have a lot of bots somehow, because we never purchased any followers.
Yeah.
It was all organic. And so somebody looked into it for us, and we have like 0.03% bots that follow, which is like hardly anything. And so getting frustrated with that, and having now found Twitch, which we're now live streaming on pretty much every day. We do what's called the Shut the Fuck Up show on Twitch. And, you know, there's none of that. We don't have to deal with any of that. And on Facebook, I can't dab. People get quarantined and kicked off of Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, so we've found this new platform in Twitch that we're really taking a hold of and trying to get all of our social media over there, so you don't miss anything. You know, we still put up our posts and everything else everywhere, but people don't get the notifications for whatever the reason. And that's something that I don't understand about social media. I mean, I don't claim to know really much about social media in managing our stuff. I mean, because I've talked to other people. Go to college for this shit now, is what I'm understanding. Yeah. And they get degrees in social media marketing and all this stuff.
It's a very well-paid job too.
Exactly. And people have hit us up. Hey, we can come help you with social media, but we're different. We're way different, because I can't have somebody running our social media. How are they going to answer a legal question? You know, I mean, we need a lawyer to actually do that. And lawyers don't want to just sit on social media, and they want to go to court, and they want to be lawyers, you know, unless you're us, you can do both. But that's one of the reasons why I could never get somebody else to help out. I just had to do it. And I answer every question, every direct message, all of it on Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of it. And the engagement is what's most important there.
Yeah.
because people want to engage. And that's, that's what we've realized. And we're happy to do it. Happy to engage and teach people. It's gratifying for us when we get those messages. Hey, I used the script last night and man, I had an ounce in the back or whatever it is, I mean, it's nice to know that we're helping a lot of people and, saving lives, from people who could have otherwise been locked up for really no real good reason.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think the biggest part of your success is the fact that you guys are authentic and, you're out on social media. And when you created it, you were putting goodwill out there. You were putting messages out there. And then on top of that, if you've talked about, and I've seen it firsthand on your Instagram, you guys have been doing the social justice thing since before it was cool to do so. Every celebrity in Hollywood is all of a sudden on board now that something bad happened. But in the cannabis game, that's a big part of it. That's a huge part of it. And there's so many things that I want to talk about on the legal side of it, but just from a business standpoint, because we're, C-Lab, the group that allows me to do this show on their social media, we're a business association. So I look all the way back. And before people knew it, you were kind of the perfect marketing guy because you have filmmaking experience, you have writing experience, you had producing experience, acting experience, but you were also a lawyer who studied very hard and became very good at what he did. So you had everything that was a perfect storm. So I can only imagine your brother Craig was at some point in the back of his mind was probably like, Mark would be a great marketer as part of the firm too, even though I'm sure you guys always wanted to work together. But little did he know he probably got one of the best chief marketing officers he could have ever possibly gotten in the form of your brother, because I'm sure you enjoy doing a lot of this stuff because it gives you your creative outlet along with the legal outlet. You get to put goodwill out there. I mean, and literally you were attacking the Gary Vaynerchuk playbook before he even came around and started talking about it, because you're just like, okay, we need to put our advice on social media. And then we fast forward to the cannabis industry today. You can't buy Facebook ads. You can't put anything consumption on Facebook. You can't buy any social media ads. If, for even this podcast alone, I usually don't have consumption on here mainly because I film it indoors, not because I'm against it. But if we try to do one paid post for this show, which is literally just a talk show talking about the business side of it, we get flagged, right? I'm constantly worried about our YouTube and everything else. And so the playbook now for the cannabis industry is organic growth through social media. And you guys figured that out in 2015. So not only and you figured the best way is you figured it out by doing what you love and what felt right to you and just doing the right thing. So I think that's a huge part of your success, and you guys are super authentic. And, I see the comments popping up here and everything else, which is a first for us because we don't get as many followers as you guys do, but everybody's supportive of you. And I think one of the number one things why people would want to go to you guys is because they see you, that you do live the life, you understand it, and you can relate to them in some way, shape, or form. Right? It's not some, like your brother said, you're not going to some stuffed up lawyer in this beautiful wooden marble office with a nice suit and tie and has a Mercedes in the parking lot, and he's just telling you what you should do. If that guy told you to shut the fuck up, you'd probably walk out and say, that fucking guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm going to do this and that and the other, because you can't relate to him. He's up in his ivory tower and you're sitting there, a normal guy. But I walk into your office like, okay, well, these guys, they do the right, they're part of the life. And now I know that you might have had these experiences or the experiences with your nephew. And I can now, okay, he knows what the fuck he's talking about. He's done this 100 times. I know that he's real. I'm going to listen to what he says. And I think that's one of the reasons why your advice resonates so much. I could be wrong, but that's my best guess.
No, absolutely. And like you said, we're just who we are, to touch on that, when we started doing the videos, I go to court more than my brother. He does more of the transactional stuff, so he's in the office. So we dress different. We dress different anyway, but I'm more, in the suit and the tie and everything because I go to court more. And when we started making the videos, people started commenting on my brother's wearing his, West Coast Cure hat, shirt, whatever. And people were commenting so much on the way we were dressed and what we were wearing and my tie and his hat. And I made it, what about the legal shit, guys? We're giving you information here. And so that just maybe this is just another component of engaging and going through all this on social media. So I just took that our natural characters and exploited it more or less to like, okay, I would keep a vest and shirt and tie in my office in case I was dressed down. I'd throw it on and I'd come out. And in the first 2 years or so, it was like, we want to keep this look, this image and all that.
Yeah.
And people like it. They like how I dress. My wife, my stylist, funny story. When we first got married, for the first 2 weeks, every day I got dressed to go into court and I had to hear, oh, your tie doesn't match. Oh, your socks don't match. Your shirt don't. And we got into fights, right? I'm like, I got married when I was 35. Like, I've been dressing myself fine before you. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And so then one day it happened again. And I just said, this ain't worth the fight. Just, why don't you just lay out what you want me to wear and I'll wear it. And so she did that. So she started doing that. And she's done that. We've been married 17 years. So when we go backwards 5 years ago, as this all started, and once a month, she might go get me like a nice, crazy looking outfit. We'll go out and stuff like that. Well, this started happening. And I was like, I got to go to this convention. We got to go to this expo. I got to go to this Cannabis Cup. I got to go appear on this show. I got to go do this. I need another outfit. I need another outfit. I need another outfit. So my wife literally became my stylist. And from once a month, it was almost every day, to where she, now I have a closet full of all these clothes. And that started just because people were like, hey, I like what you're wearing. Where did you get it? Who styles your clothes? And my brother, and with him in the back and smoking, that was, wow, but he's just back there puffing away. Yeah, and it's like more of a like Jay and Silent Bob and, comedy duo almost, and those kinds of things. And so, kind of overlapping and overlaying those characteristics and putting them into what we're doing. And again, just as almost caricatures of ourselves a little bit, but deep down, this is just who we are. And you don't like us, fuck you. We don't care. Go to the attorney who's going to have a 3-martini lunch and doesn't even particularly care about cannabis.
It could be popping painkillers too.
Absolutely. It's just endless. It's endless. And so when we've always just, as people, we've just always been who we are. And that's been our attitudes always. Just, hey, if you don't like us or you don't like me, then you don't like me. I can't do anything about it. All I can do is be myself. And if people like it, like my brother says, when the reality shows come to us, we've said no to a lot of different things. And, my brother's like, hey, you want to put cameras up and leave us alone? And people like watching that? Okay, let's do it. Because we're not going to be scripted. We're not going to manufacture anything. We're not going to be fake at all. And a lot of that reality TV is not so real.
Yeah.
But we've talked to a few companies and producers, and there's something there. It's just like everything else with us. It'll happen in its own time if it's going to happen. We don't push for it. We're not looking. We never looked to do a talk show. When Blue, the guy who created it, and our co-host came to us that one day for legal advice, and it said, hey, you guys want to do a talk show with me? I don't know, okay, what do we do? Show up and talk? Okay. And so we just kind of rolling with everything that's come out of all this Insta fame or whatever you call it. And I admit I like it when I'm at the store and someone goes, it's the shut the fuck up guy. And we get that a lot. I'm driving on the street, on the road, just everywhere. And, that is gratifying. And for me particularly, growing up as a thespian and I had my acting career, I always thought I'm going to be famous because I'm an actor and and I've done film festivals with great movies and stuff like that and gotten awards. And that's where I thought my fame was going to come from. I didn't think it would be just me being myself, and doing this. It just came out of nowhere. But it also is helping me with my other career that I had and opening a lot of doors for that. So it kind of all goes hand in hand. And I feel like my whole for my whole life has kind of come full circle in doing all this. And I like it.
I think it's really cool because like going back to it, you know, you're being yourself and by being yourself, it's marketing. But I look at you guys and I think, you know, I think people in this world are very quick to judge. And when I look at you, I see entrepreneurial spirit in the form of the first thing you just said, I'm going to be me. And if you don't like me, I don't really give a shit. Right. So you're going to stay in your lane and you're going to do your thing and you're going to work on that. And then, you know, you had the law career and things started blowing up. And as you guys take opportunities, I don't know if you guys realize this or it's just the state of the world that we're in. When you play a caricature of yourself and it's out there in the public, that people expect that that's how you are all the time, like all the time. And don't get me wrong, I know that you guys live that lifestyle, but you're still normal guys, right? You know,
I don't know. All the
all
time.
Right.
All the time.
But so, you know,
my brother.
Would you guys still, you know, you still have wives and families and all that stuff, and you're just like anybody else. You're just not, you're not afraid. Like, you know, hey, listen, I'm a lawyer, I'm a personality, I'm all these things, and I'm doing very well, and my family loves me, and I'm not doing anything wrong, and I'm helping people. So you know what? If you don't like me because I smoke or I don't dress the way that you want me to dress, or I do dress the way that you want me to dress, I don't care. And not only that, but you guys have done, you know, talking to Craig, he's like, listen, if we're going to work with someone, we want to make sure that it's handled the right way. We don't want someone that's going to use us as these caricatures as the butt of the joke. But if they want to sit and talk and really talk about the issues and give advice, or even the way that I think the way that Tosh did it, yes, there was a butt of a joke there, but it was very respectful. And then the other videos he did with you guys, I mean, but you know, I think you guys have done a very good job of charting your path and not jumping on every opportunity you can, but jumping on the right opportunities. And you know, as an entrepreneur, not just someone who's trying to navigate the world, that's very, very hard. And you guys, just by being yourselves, have figured everything out and have got the success from it. And the best part about that is the more successful that you are, the more people that you can help. Right?
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
You now have a platform to talk to 500,000 people, to give them legal advice. And I'm sure that, like you said, a lot of them even today are saying how much that you've helped them. And then not only that, you know, people probably looked, oh, he's wearing the t-shirt, the sticker, and everything else. All that does is remind people, right? That's all part of the goodwill. And the more successful you are, again, the more people that you're going to be able to help. What I'm most impressed about now, because I do this show, this is a side gig for me. I'm a technology consultant during the day. Obviously, we talked about that when we were scheduling this, but I know how much time and effort this one little 1 hour show takes, and I do it 3, 4, 5 times a week. You're doing, you know, radio shows. You're doing the Shut the Fuck Up Fridays. You're doing the Instagram videos. You're doing other people's podcasts. You're doing other shows. And, oh, by the way, you have a day job of being a lawyer. So it's incredible to me how you're able to manage all this time and balance everything together and not drive yourself nuts. That's the most impressive part to me. And I don't think that people realize when they see you and me on these platforms, you know, just having a conversation, that there's time and effort that goes into these things, right? So that's what's extremely impressive to me. And honestly, you know, when you first started talking, for the first question I asked you, I started taking notes. I'm like, all right, they did this, they did this, they did this. It's great advice. It's great advice for anyone who's trying to get more exposure for themselves. And I think everybody in this industry, you know, I'm repetition all the time. The lovely CEO of a company, Vanks, Carson Humiston, said, everybody who's in this industry, in the cannabis space, we're not bankers. We're here because we want to be, and we're here because we're passionate about this industry. And the more we all succeed, I think the better it is for everybody, and the better it is for the country as a whole, because we're trying to put goodwill out there. And dude, you are a great representation of that. I mean,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. And you know, I don't know how I do it. I get asked that a lot, and you know, really, I wake up in the morning, and that whatever the day is ahead of me, I've got things I've got to do that day, right? There's things I have to do, whether it's for work or personal, whatever it is. And everybody, you have those things that day that you have to do, and then there's things that need to get done by the next day or a couple days or whatever it is. And so I just wake up and do whatever I have to do. And I likened it to when, you know, 15 years ago, me and my wife had our first kid. And I never had a kid before that. And, you know, people, I had friends who, what are you going to do? You don't even know how to be a dad. I don't do what my parents did, I guess. And I'll just do what I have to do. If my kid shits, I'll change the diaper. I'm not going to let my kids stay in shit. You know, I mean, so you just do what you have to do. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people procrastinate. I'll do it tomorrow. I haven't, or whatever. And they don't set proper deadlines and things like that. So, I mean, I think for me, key is know my deadlines, what I got to get done and when it's got to get done. And as an attorney, you know, for me being an attorney for 24 years, you're already doing that because you got to calendar your court and your schedule, and you can't be late. And, you know, so that type of work ethic has always been instilled within me. And so just I flip out every once in a while. I do, like, you know, even hearing you say everything I do, because I don't think of it like that. Because I don't, well, there are some days when I am doing everything, absolutely a little bit of everything. But most days I'm doing some of this, some of that. But yeah, when you say all that, I'm like, fuck, man, how do I do all that? How do I do all that?
Yeah.
But I do, right? And I got I got a wife, 3 kids, and you know, I got to spend, last night was movie night at the house, and, you know, you just got to make room for it all. And I mean, with any amount of success comes more responsibility. You're held accountable to more people. And I mean, and I look at it that way. We have 500,000, I'm held accountable to 500,000 people. You know, they want to see this next video tomorrow, or they want to ask a question. And, you know, they're at this point, since we've been doing it, because we engage and we respond, we're going to keep doing it. To suddenly go, yeah, I don't have time anymore, I'm going to respond to, you know, that's bullshit. You know, and people get like that. You know, people who get fame and all this other stuff, they can be like that. And you made a point. You made a point about, you know, actors and coming out and activism and stuff. And there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good ones, but there's also those who they only, and I believe I heard this on Joe Rogan the other day when he was
With Tim Dillon. I was about to bring that up. I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yes. Yeah. He was talking about Alyssa Milano, particularly. And then it was like, yeah, actors who aren't relevant anymore and need to be out there again. Now suddenly they're activists. Now suddenly they're out there. You know, I love that. I love Joe Rogan. And
that was the best. They're like, you start as an actor, and when you no longer can get work, you become an activist. And Tim Dillon said it. He goes, listen, I've been in Hollywood for about 5 to 10 years now, and I've only cared about myself and my career because that's what you have to do out here. He goes, trust me, these people don't care about you. They didn't all of a sudden after 10 years start caring about you. I mean, it's funny, but there's a lot of truth to it too.
No, absolutely. You know, absolutely. And I can honestly say I'm an actor, but that's not the way I'm going about it. You know, I'm probably an activist and advocate first right now. You know, I mean, we actually, I don't know if my brother talked about a pilot that we shot. Did he talk about the pilot we shot?
No, he didn't.
Right, so
I think we stayed away from a lot of the creative stuff because that's your angle. So
we get a call a couple weeks ago from a guy, producer. We get them all the time. And usually I have set a phone consult to talk to them and vet them out over the phone. And, you know, more often than not, once I get to, me and my brother need complete creative control, and, you know, you're not coming in my brother's house. They walk, you know, they're like, well, we can't do that. Okay, bye. See you later then. You know, so this particular producer, his energy was just blowing right through the phone at me. And I was like, well, tell me. He wouldn't even tell me what it was. I'm like, tell me what it's about. He said, no, I got to come to your office and tell you in person. I don't want to tell you anything, but you're going to love it. Yeah. And I've gotten similar calls and, you know, never invited anybody into my office without knowing exactly what this was going to be. But just something in me was like, all right, come on, in, we'll talk. So he comes in, and he's created a show. He's been working on it for several years, and it's called Delete Laws. Delete Laws with a Z. And the premise is taking all these old archaic, like the case law I mentioned earlier that allows cops to rip you out of the car. Taking those cases, showing factually how it goes down when a cop is arresting somebody. Magically, the Pot Brothers at Law appear in the car to tell the person their rights and shut the fuck, it's everything we do. And then the case goes in front of a judge and they talk about the cases of why a cop was able to do all the shit they did and get away with it. And then they rule that law should be deleted and a new one in its place, more or less. So that's the whole concept. And
That's cool.
Exactly, right? We're like, okay, yeah, we're in, and it wasn't a reality show about us or anything like that. It was just, but we're characters, but we're playing ourselves. And so now I have all this background in film, TV work and everything, right? So, and I've done my own independent films for 20 years. And so we're driving up to this shoot to a location in Hollywood Hills, a big mansion in Hollywood Hills. And me and my brother are talking. We're like, I hope this isn't a waste of time because it would just suck. He talked a good game. He said, he threw out a lot of names that not like famous in front of the camera, behind the camera, director of photography guys, and people that I'm familiar with. And like, okay, well we'll see what's what. And so I told my brother, when we get there and I see the set and I see the people who are there, I'm going to know within 10 seconds if this is a fucking student film shoot or, this guy's coming through with what he said. And we pulled up and it took me 5 seconds. This is it. This top notch. They got, everybody was professionals. Everybody, it was all good. And then we shot it. And one of the crew members was talking to us and then suddenly went, holy shit, you're not actors playing the Pot Brothers at Law. You are the Pot Brothers at Law. Because they have, all these different actors playing the guys, the cops beating them up and all that. So that we shot it. And then we shot a scene at our office and, he's going to be pitching that around. And hopefully it's just the premise is awesome because there's so many laws that are fucking ridiculous.
So are you familiar with the show Adam Ruins Everything? I've
seen like half an episode.
It seems very similar. So in that show, basically Adam talks about like why engagement rings are a thing now and then goes into the whole De Beers myth and all that. To me, it's a very similar concept, but it's really cool because this is stuff that people are not educated on at all and very, very pertinent to today's society, dude. I hope that this gets picked up because this is something that, to me, it's educational, but it also sounds like fun too.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Well, my brother had never been on a professional set shooting before, so he had no idea what to expect or anything. And he, it was very interesting to him, and understanding the similarity with being on set and being in court. Hurry up and wait. I mean, there's a lot, like there is in court, a lot of waiting around when you're on set, and so I was happy my big brother got to experience that, and I was like my brother said, when we were standing there, because I even thinking about it, get the grin on my face. I'm on a fucking movie set again. And he said, hey, don't fucking come in your pants, man, relax. Cause that's, if I had my choice, that's where I'd be every day if I could, right?
Well,
on the set of a movie.
I bet you never thought your law career would take you right back into Hollywood, man.
Never, ever in a million years. Never in a million years.
Dude, listen, there's so much more to your story that I want to dig into, but I've already stolen an hour of your time. And
I got more time?
Well, we have to. It would not be a perfect Pot Brothers a Lot episode if we didn't go into the script. And I know you knew I was going that way. So,
Oh, of course.
for our C Lab folks, because your followers all know it, we need to teach them the script.
Yes. All right. So now, how deep do you want to go into this?
I've seen the videos where you do a little bit of the explanation of it. I really like that.
Okay. So, but first, the script, the only 25 words that you're going to use when you're engaging with law enforcement. And very quickly, the script is, why did you pull me over? I'm not discussing my day. Am I being detained or am I free to go? If detained, you say, I invoke the fifth, and then you shut the fuck up, no matter what the cops say or do. Okay, so now, why did you pull me over? The reason that you need to say that is because cops have 7 to 8 minutes to write a traffic ticket unless they find other independent probable cause to further detain you and search you. Now that comes from case law. So once the traffic stop is established, and you might think getting pulled over establishes a traffic stop, but maybe the cop's just telling you you got something hanging out of your gas tank. Who knows?
Yeah.
So the point is, when the cop comes up, remember this: as soon as they get out of their car and they're walking to yours, they're looking everywhere in your car, in the back window and here. They're looking everywhere because they want to see something in plain view so they can just start searching right away. So you want to make sure to have nothing in plain view, whether it's legally purchased cannabis, a dildo, or a sandwich, anything that you don't want anyone else to see or know that you have, put it in the trunk, always, or in a locked box or bag furthest away from the driver if you don't have a trunk. And before I get to that, why did you pull me over? Let's really quickly, I touched on it earlier, but when you get in your car, think in your head, I'm going to get pulled over today. Today's the day.
Yeah.
Because one day you will get pulled over. It's going to happen. I don't know when, but you will get pulled over. And so you can do those things to minimize the exposure of getting pulled over. Like I said, making sure all your blinkers are working, the tag registration is up to date and not in your glove compartment and shit like that, the little things like that. If you got a crack on your windshield, that could get you pulled over, get it fixed.
Yeah.
Those
I got pulled
things.
over one time because they said the light over my license plate was not on. I got pulled over. You know the worst part about that was when I got home and I went around the back of my car, fucking thing was on.
Yeah, they fucking, yep. Yeah, and they will do that, and that's a big one. That's a big one. We get that a lot. Pulled over for that, and then it turns in 85% of drug busts start at pullovers. So yeah, that's a big one. So those are the things you can do to minimize your exposure to getting pulled over. Also, when you get in your car, take your license out of your wallet. Take your insurance out of the glove compartment. Take your registration out of the center con. Everybody keeps that shit in different places. All that's going to do is agitate a cop when you're looking for it and give them, shoot you. You don't know. And so take it all, put it together, license, insurance, and registration right up on your visor. Most cars have that little slot, and you can put it right there or clip it there. Do it all. So it's easy, right? So now we get to, why did you pull me over? Oh, did we get booted off Facebook or Instagram?
I think we got booted off Instagram.
Here, let me try to go back live with you.
Yeah, I can get that going. This is new to me.
That's okay.
Let's go. I'm all right. I got the live going again.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me get in there.
The Cannabis Lab.
Yeah. No, it's putting me back in. It's not taking me live. Hold on. It shows you're live. There we go. Okay. All right. Request coming your way.
Bam. And we're back.
All right. I'm just getting a little dab.
Apparently it doesn't like me talking for more than an hour.
Instagram. Who knows? Okay. So we were talking about Now, we did all the stuff getting ready. We're in the car. We're getting pulled over. And so when you get pulled over, you want to immediately pull over as quickly as safe as possible. Turn your engine off, put your keys in your pocket, and then put your hands on the steering wheel and roll your window down enough to pass documents through. Now, if you have tinted windows, roll them all down. Just roll them all down because the cops need to see in the back of your car. And again, we want to make these cops feel comfortable. You know, maybe who knows what the fuck they just came from. Like I said, they're worried they're going to get shot. They don't know. So make them comfortable. Turn your car off, roll the windows down, and then you put your hands on the steering wheel. Some people like to put their hands out the window too. And so the point is the cop knows where your hands are. Knows where your hands are. And you've got your fucking phone going and recording. You've stopped, you record, your phone's mounted in the right spot, so it's facing the window, and you push record, and now you're waiting. And then the cop comes up to you, and he may say, how's your day today? Or, you know, where are you going? Why are you going so fast? Or any number of 100 million things, whatever he says, doesn't matter. I don't even care if he tells you why he pulled you over. Whatever he says, you're going to say. And a big one is, do you know why I pulled you over? Because they want you, oh, well, was I speeding a little? Or they might say, you know, how's your day? You know, because they want you to talk. They want you to get comfortable talking and answering questions and just there. Now, yeah, I'm your friend.
And realize, folks, that they're trained to get you to talk.
Yes.
We're not trained.
And we're training you now. But we shouldn't have to because it's your constitutional right to not talk. So don't fall for any of their bullshit tricks. And that's why no matter what they say, because we're going to make this like muscle memory by the time it's all done, you're going to know the script. You say, why did you pull me over, officer? Then they tell you whatever it is. Now they got that 7 to 8 minutes, or they're going to keep, you know, where are you going? Where are you coming from? What's that smell? Have you been drinking? You had 2 drinks? Just tell me it's okay. I'm looking for bad guys, not, you know, I just want to make sure you're okay. Well, I mean, I could go on and on with the bullshit that could come out of a cop's mouth with the intent of getting you to talk and make admissions that you don't even know you're doing. So again, after you say, why did you pull me over? Whatever the cop says, doesn't matter. I'm not discussing my day. That's the easiest response to any answer. I'm not discussing my day. I'm not discussing my evening. That's it. And then you're going to get one of a couple kinds of cops. You're going to get the cop that, oh man, you know your rights. All right, here's your ticket, you know, be on your way, or just a warning. I'm going to get the next 10 guys who don't know their rights. I'm going to go in their cars. And there's nothing really happening here. Or you're going to get the cop that says, oh, you want to play that game? Think you know more than me, do you? Well, you're going to have to get the fuck out of the blah, 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 blah. And then they're going to get you out. And no matter what they say, I'm not stressing my day. You say, am I being detained or am I free to go? This gives the cops a moment to reflect and make a decision. Do I want to detain this guy? Either it's the cop who's pissed, yeah, you're getting detained. Or, nah, you know, here's your ticket, be on your way. Yeah, you're getting detained, get out of the car. Well, why? What am I being detained for? I'm not telling you, just get out of the fuck car. We see that all the time now, right?
Yeah.
Well, you have to tell me. Now, this is delete laws. Exactly. Where a cop will rip you out of the car after asking you, and then he'll say, thought I saw a weapon, or whatever. They'll fucking whatever they make up that puts it in line with those cases that allow them to then rip you out of the car. So just get out. Now, we do respect people who stand up for their rights. Civil disobedience. Like that guy, it actually happened like a year or so ago. The most recent one that's been really going viral about a week or two ago, I think, where the cop goes, are you ready for the show? And then gets the guy around the neck and yanks him out of the car. And that guy was going, I'm not doing anything. I haven't got anything. But he didn't get out of the car like the cop ordered him to.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that's civil disobedience. Man, you better get ready to get your ass beat. because that's what this fucking crazy cop's going to do. And we'll have to see. That cop, from what I understood, got put on leave immediately, but I don't know I don't know what happened. I would hope that he's gone and off the force, you know? But that's, you know, you can handle it that way. People ask me all the time about when, you know, I've been all over the country and I smoke wherever I go, right? And there are places that it is illegal. It's a misdemeanor. It's a felony in some fucking places to smoke a joint. And so when I'm in those places, wherever I travel, I make sure to know what the cannabis laws are. So I know what laws I'm breaking and I know the consequences of my actions. And I'm willing to be a martyr, I guess. And hey, you want to fucking arrest me for a joint? Okay. You know, but I'm not surprised. I mean, we get a lot of people who go, well, I was doing that and I didn't know. Well, that ignorance of the law is no excuse and no defense. You know, plus you need to know those things, especially as cannabis users. And especially if you travel, you need to know what the cannabis law is because they're so different from state to state. I was Instagram Live yesterday with Steve Will Do It, the big YouTuber guy who does all the crazy stuff, young kid. And he got busted for a bunch of cannabis stuff, crimes, minimal shit, where he's like, I'm here in Florida. If I'm in California and I'm smoking my joint and I have my ounce, I'm good. If I'm in Florida, I'm a criminal. You know, same if you're in Tennessee with that, what you have here, you're a criminal. And, you know, and when I think about the fact, I know I'm going on a little tangent, but 42 states of the 50 have either adult use and or medical, and it's still federally illegal.
Yep.
I mean, that's enough to want to make you burn things down.
I can rant for another 10 hours on this because I look at it, right? And not to cut you off here, but when we look at cannabis as a whole and the federal legalization, right? I think when the lawmakers and everybody else, they look at me, they look at you, and they think, oh, everybody just wants to smoke their joints. And this plant is so much bigger than that. And just taking an industry look, when the cannabis industry gets to maturity, the adult use might be one of the smallest pockets of it. Yes, it's going to make things better, but there's medical benefits, there's wellness benefits. And then if we get into hemp and industrial hemp and what that can do for the country I rant about that very often on this show. So to your point, with 42 states just on some kind of legalized consumption level, and then it would actually allow us to do research into the plant and do tests and take the stalks and go back to 1918, 1920, whenever it was, you know, put on prohibition, and pick up where we left off with industrial hemp, making clothes and rope and plastics and concretes and all this shit. It's a no-brainer to me, and I don't understand why nobody in Washington can figure it out. But
hey, unemployment ends, the national debt's gone. I mean, it saves the planet. I mean, let's really, you know, I mean, so back to, I'm not discussing my day, and then am I being detained or am I free to go? That's where you're putting the cop to the decision. Am I being detained or am I free to go? We all hope to be free to go. But if you're being detained, this is where you have to say, I invoke the Fifth. Now, you have to explicitly state it. The Supreme Court ruled that you must speak in order to invoke your right to silence. Isn't that groovy? So it's based on a case where a guy was being interrogated for like 13 hours, and it was about a murder. And they asked him about a murder weapon, and he went like this. And made that guilty look.
yeah,
And that was used against him. They appealed it, and then the Supreme Court said, you got to explicitly state that you're invoking your Fifth Amendment right. Explicitly. And what's more explicit than I invoke the Fifth? That's it. Then, no matter what that cop says, doesn't matter, threatens you, you're going to jail for 10 years, and whatever bullshit they say, you shut the fuck up. And if you're going to get arrested, you get arrested, you bail out. And you got to remember the point to all this. And to those who are, minorities, who feel like this isn't going to work, or when you say, I'm not discussing my day, the cop's going to say, you're not cooperating with me. And that's a trick. That's another trick. When the cops responds to you with, why can't you cooperate with me? Well, guess what? Think about it. You did cooperate. You saw the lights, you pulled over. Cooperation. You shut your car off. Cooperation. You rolled your window down enough. You cooperated. You gave him license and ID. You are fucking doing nothing but cooperating. Answering questions does not equal cooperation. Answering questions means incriminating yourself, which you don't have to do. So when they lay that on, you can't cooperate with me, I'm not discussing my day. And you just stick to the script, shut the fuck up, never, ever consent to searches, because you don't know what your cousin Johnny left in your car 3 months ago, or whoever was in your car. I could sit here for 3 hours and tell you about all the cases that started because I consent because I got nothing in my car. And then there it is in places you would never even think to look. That shit gets stuck when they rip out your fucking car seats and everything.
Yeah.
Leave it all on the side of the road. And now we as the attorney cannot fight an illegal search because you consented. You consented. Every time you open your mouth to the cops, you potentially are ruining a defense that we might be able to put forth had you not shut the fuck up. And remember, the last thing I want to say about the script is what it is for. And when we get those responses, pushback, it's not going to work. It's not going to work for me. It's not going to, because I'm this, because I'm that, I'm this race and I'm that race, it's not going to work for me. Got to understand what it means to work. So to do that, we got to understand what it means to not work. So what the script is not for is, it's not to ensure that you don't get profiled and pulled over. It's not to ensure that you don't get a ticket. It's not to ensure that you don't get harassed by the cops. It's not to ensure that you don't get arrested by the cops. It's not to ensure that you don't get your ass beat by the cops. And it's not to ensure that you don't get killed. Because all that shit that I just said, that's what happens at traffic stops. And they let you go without a ticket or give you a ticket. All of that happens at traffic stops. And we can't do anything about it. I wish I could, but we can't. But what we can do is, if we as the attorneys and other attorneys are going to get that case after you've gone through whatever you've gone through, if you do what we're telling you, you will have protected and preserved all of your rights, remedies, and defenses when you need them in court, in criminal case to defend, and in civil case to bring a lawsuit that your rights were violated. Which is why in the George Floyd case, those cops are going to jail. They cannot say, I was afraid for my life. They can't do it. And that, and when we look at that he was in a car, they took him out. He said, why am I being arrested? He didn't resist. He did everything that we say to do. And the worst thing happened. And what's worse is if that cop was able to get away, those 4 cops were able to get away with it, but they can't, they won't. And that when that civil suit comes, nothing brings back the dead, but in America, we get compensated with money. And when that civil suit comes, they're not going to have that defense, and the family's going to get paid. Fast forward to Rashard Brooks. I use these as bookends. And another horrible tragedy where you have the cops talking to the guy for 54 minutes, and then they ask him to do that fucking breathalyzer, which in that state, like in California, is voluntary. You don't have to do it. And you should never do those if they're voluntary in your state. Google your state for that. But he does that breathalyzer, and then they just start taking him down. In understanding, my thought process is, I understand that he was talking to them for a good amount of time, almost an hour, and then they start taking him down. fuck, they're going to kill me like they killed George Floyd. Fuck, I got to get out. I'm afraid for I'm found. I can grab his weapon. I'm going to do whatever I can to survive. And that's and then he gets shot in the back, fucking running away. But what's happening? We already fucking heard it, and it pisses me off. The defense attorney for that cop has already said it. He was afraid for his life. He was acting in self-defense. He had to do what he had to do. I don't know why he had to shoot him in the back, but the point is we're taking away that power for them to be able to say that. And the fact that it's being said in this case, I think is going to help lose its luster. You know, you can't just turn to that. Not like this. You know, so that's the most important aspect of the script, and shutting the fuck up is preserving all those rights, remedies, and defenses. If those shitty fucked up things happen, then afterwards, that's when you take the power back and make change. You know, and hopefully we're going to see effective change coming from all this within the policing and everything else, you know, because I mean, the police shouldn't be going to schools and cuffing kids like this video we just saw. Whether that was
the 8-year-old, I saw that.
Yeah, and there's lots of whatever. I don't even care if it was somebody trying to teach a kid a lesson. What a waste of resource. Sending a cop to a fucking middle school for what? That's just another example of the misallocation of what these police are doing and where they should be doing it. You know, and that's the overhaul that needs to be made. You know, not sending police to middle schools, just ridiculous. But nonetheless, I hope that kid shut the fuck up and you know, shut the freak up. You know, because we all have the rights. We all live in America here, and when you're coming from another country and you're here, you use that script. And I will say this, on the script challenge that we do every Friday, nobody from another country ever loses. India, South Africa, Australia, I mean, everywhere all over the world, they know it better than some of the Americans that we have.
That's funny, man. Dude, I love everything that you guys do. I love all the content that you put out. I love seeing the different hats on you today, the entrepreneur, the activist, the attorney, all that stuff. And like I said, I know I've taken a lot of your time. I got to get back to my family as well. Go for it. 2 more things. This is great education, man.
Well, have you heard the slam poem?
I just watched the slam poem. And I love it. You know why I love the slam poem is because you mentioned the fact, like, hey, these cops have a hard job. They've got families at home. Not to blow up the poem, but you weigh both sides of it, and it's catchy and it's very educational, like just about everything that you do.
Well, and so what's funny about that is did you see the actual video or me doing it live?
I saw it on the Instagram probably like 5 or 6 videos ago. I know that you were wearing a vest and tie. I don't know which video.
That was live because we did a video of it, a microfilm of it, and shot it all over Oklahoma last year, and so we have that. But when I created it, I wrote it about 10 years ago when I was getting frustrated with my criminal defense clients who wouldn't shut the fuck up. And as a writer, that's how I let out my frustration. I write, you know, I've written a lot of poetry scripts and other things. And then I put it put it away. You know, I never really read my poetry to anybody, you know, and then back in 2015, all this shit is happening. And one of our clients who run an event called The Secret Sesh came to our office. I had found the poem in cleaning my office. Like, hey, wow, look at this. And I read it to the guys, and they said, can you come to our event and do that on stage? I said, sure, why not? So I did it, and it blew up to all proportions. I couldn't even imagine. I never imagined I'd be flown to the hip hop awards in Seattle to do my poem and to.
That's crazy. I didn't even know. I just saw it on Instagram. I didn't realize it was that big. Wow.
Well, so why it's on Instagram now is when the pandemic started. So I've done this on stage for opening acts for artists and musicians and stuff all over the place. And when the pandemic hit, I went live one day and somebody had seen it somewhere. Hey, do that poem. I saw you do it at the, thing. And so I did it. And then the next day, and then, just started going live way more, like a lot of people when everything started. And every day I would go live, somebody would say, do the slam poem. So I did. But then I one day came and I went, I can't do it every day, guys. Sorry, but I'll do it on Shut the Fuck Up Friday after the script challenge. That's probably what you saw. And so that's what I've been doing, unless when I go live on Twitch, my rule there is if everybody really wants to see it, I'll do it. If there's 50 people watching, 100, 2, whatever. But if it's not everybody, then I'm not doing it. And then I'll do it on podcasts like this. And my brother hates it.
Well, if he hates it and he's been on the show already, he can't say anything if you did it. I mean,
the great thing about that statement is over the 5 years, and my brother will attest, the litmus test of if one of our videos is good or not, and someone's going to like it, is if he says, I don't like it. Because he's a grumpy old man and he doesn't like it. And so I'll come up with stuff, right? I'm creative. I'll come up with stuff. That's stupid. No one's going to, what? Okay, good. It's good. And then boom, it goes through the roof. But if he was here, he'd say, okay, I'm out. Bye. And he'd disconnect.
Dude, so, I mean, the one marketing lesson that this all follows is repetition pierces the dullest of minds. I had a mentor of me who told that to me. Repetition pierces the dullest of minds. And the more and more you guys do the script and the more people see the shut the fuck up and the more you do that slam poem, the more and more it's going to get into people's heads and they're going to be like, oh yeah, that's what I need to do. So it makes sense. I mean, everything you're doing makes 100% sense. You're just doing it naturally because it's what you like to do.
That's it. So with that, I'll give you, Am I Being Detained or Am I Free to Go? That's the slam poem by the Pop Brothers at Law.
Go for it, man. This episode contains all your greatest hits so far.
Okay, well, hold on. I must take a dab because contrary to very popular belief, cannabis helps your memory. I don't care what anybody says. Cannabis helps. And I think it helps a lot of things. Think you'd agree with me?
I would absolutely agree with you. I think the beauty of it is people understand how it helps them and how it doesn't. And that's excellent.
The only thing I'm waiting for is a strain that doesn't cause cotton mouth. I can't believe there isn't one. I mean, that's the only.
Well, that's why we need to be able to R&D it.
There it is. And I'm the guy. Okay, here we go. Am I Being Detained or Am I Free to Go? Slam poem by the Pop Brothers at Law, but I really wrote it. All right. Am I being detained or am I free to go? This is what to say. My lawyer tells me so. The cops are out there doing a job. Sometimes they must contain a mob, a thankless job that saves many lives. At their home are worried children, husbands, and wives. But does that give them the right to stomp on my rights? So we are here for you, the cannabis community, to fight, to let you know it's okay to just shut the fuck up when cops ask questions. You start with, I'm not discussing my day, end with, I invoke the fifth. These ain't suggestions. These are words to live by, to memorize. See, it's not about the size of that cop's gun, because they want you to run so they can pull that macho gun and shoot you for fleeing the scene. Some cops are just plain mean. We must shut it off, shut it down, those feelings of anger that instantly come around when that cop has to show his power and his might without cause, without reason, and we know they're not right. We must remain calm. Keep the devil sleeping on the left shoulder. We must be cold, even colder. Ice must flow through your veins to shut that heat. The blood that rushed your brain straight from your feet when that cop disrespected you, because you wouldn't tell him what that smell was. And he accuses you of a pot DUI because he absolutely knows that you're buzzed. But see, they can't tell and they don't know only if you tell them so. Oh, officer, I smoked a joint a few hours ago. Officer, here's my medical rec. Officer, I'm a marijuana patient. We live in America. prohibition still exists. That cop's going to do whatever he's going to do. 50-50, he arrests you. Give us a chance to represent you with a defense that's blazing. Let us show you in court we're amazing, but we can only do that if you listen to our tips. Now let me see you move your lips. You know the drill. When the cops ask questions, we say, I'm not discussing my day. Am I being detained or am I free to go? I invoke the fifth. And then you shut the fuck up. It's all about what you say and what you do. We have given you the script. We are telling you what to say. We are telling you what to do. We've put your hands up in protection mode. But should you take a shot to the jaw, we will be here fighting for the cannabis community because we are the Pot Brothers at Law. Thank you.
Beautiful. I love it, man. What you guys do is incredible. I mean, just to be able to have the time to do all this with the law career and having a creative outlet for you, man, just as a human being with all the things that you're doing in all the different arenas is very inspiring to me. And I mean it. So
thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, dude. The hour I got to spend with your brother and the time I've got to spend with you is awesome. We do a ton of awesome stuff at C-Lab. I'm definitely going to reach out to you about getting involved when you can. I know your schedule is completely filled, but we do so funny enough, I have a colleague that is in C-Lab with me. He's Mr. Cannabis Law. So he kind of went down that same path and just put it out there, and he's very open. We do a news show every Friday where we just go through 15, 20 minutes, top headlines in the day. We could use some help in California, man. So if we ever have some cool stuff in California, I'd love you guys to come on and help us out.
Absolutely. We'll make time.
Awesome, dude. Well, I'm going to go end the show and get back with my family. I appreciate it, but let's get all the plugs. Let's get all the social media handles out there because you guys do a lot. The radio shows, the podcast, all of it.
Okay. So we need about a half hour. So here we go.
Yeah. Underscore.
Right? That's right. You can follow us on Instagram at pot_brothers_at_law. Follow us there. We're also on Snapchat, Pot Brother at Law. That's me, no S. And then we're on TikTok, the WAS420, because Pot Brothers at Law got banned on TikTok when we first started because I didn't read the rules. And of course, I was just posting shit we're smoking, and we got banned like that.
Oof.
So now no smoking on TikTok. So the WAS420 on TikTok. I gave you some. LinkedIn is my name, Marc Wasserman. YouTube channel is Pot Brothers at Law. And you can also catch our Facebook page, Pot Brothers at Law, and our potbrothersatlaw.com website, PBAL merch, pballmerch.com. You can get your STFU gear, hats, masks, all that good stuff over there. And then we do our live streaming Shut the Fuck Up show daily. We haven't decided on an actual time yet. It just kind of floats. But that's on Twitch TV. So if you go
That's how this show started.
On Twitch?
No, just float whenever I had time to do it.
Oh, right. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So mostly at night, but we do an hour and it's live, raw, uncut, uncensored, unedited. We can dab and all that stuff. So catch our Twitch page, follow that. And you can always reach us at 855-WASLAW. We only handle California cases, but we do have a wide-ranging network of attorneys that we've met in other states. So we might be able to refer you somewhere if you need something in another state. We handle all criminal defense, cannabis law, compliance, business law, and we'll smoke with our clients if they so choose.
Dude, thank you so much. It's been so much fun. I'm going to have to introduce you to Mr. Cannabis Law so you guys can talk about those. And hey, guys, if anybody wants to see the interview with Big Brother Craig, just check us out on our YouTube, youtube.com/elevateyourgrind. You can see the video there. This one will be up there in about 2 weeks. We appreciate you sitting through and joining us today. The Saturday ones are fun. I'm enjoying this. We're going to have to do them more. So appreciate it, guys. This has been another episode of Elevate Your Grind. We're out.